This one is going to piss most of you off, but nevertheless, the truth must be said. Going to church on Sunday does not mean you actually know God. Or going to church on Sunday does not mean you are actually getting closer to God. Because, number one, God is not in the church. Number two, in religion, you don't know God, but you heard about God. That is the difference between religion and spirituality. In spirituality, you don't hear about God and believe. You experience God. You come encounter with God. And that is the biggest difference. So today, I'm going to be using Bible scripture to explain these concepts and to show you where God actually is. So let's start without wasting time. We have to know where God is. So let's go to the book of Acts, chapter 17, verses 24 to 25. And it says, and I quote, "The God who made the world and everything in it is the Lord of heaven and earth, and does not live in temple built by human hands. And he is not served by human hands, as if he needed anything. Rather, he himself gives everyone life and breath, and everything else." So it says that God does not dwell in the building made by man. So the churches are the buildings made by man, made by hands of men. The synagogue, the temples, the mosque, and so on. So where is God? Where is God? But in order to know where God is, we have to know who is God. In order to know where God is, we have to know who is God. Is it a man? Is it a woman? Who is this God that everyone is talking about? Who is he? So let's begin. In John chapter 4, verses 24, it says, and I quote, "For God is spirit, so those who worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth." So God is not a human being. So we cannot use he or she to identify God. For God is spirit. So God is not a man or a woman. God is spirit. And the spirit of God does not dwell in a building made by the human hands, by man. So where does the Spirit of God dwells? And for us to answer this, let's take 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 16. It says, and I quote, "Don't you know that you yourselves are God's temple, and that God's Spirit dwells in your midst? If anyone destroys the temple of God, God shall destroy him. For the temple of God is holy, which you are." Now the temple of God dwells in you and nowhere else. So your body is the temple of God. The temple of God dwells within you. So whenever you go to church, you don't really seek God. What you are doing is just following religious tradition. And why those traditions seems to be true is because you have allowed your subconscious to accept them as if they are true. And because your subconscious can only conceive, the subconscious cannot decline any idea that is impressed upon it. So even if you impress that this share here now is your God, your subconscious will only assign the necessary characteristics that you have impressed upon it. It will only assign the necessary characteristics that you have impressed upon it. So today, you have known that God is not in the church, but within you. Thank you.